Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Tiffany Stevenson, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Protein Industries Canada. Today, we are joining you from Regina, Saskatchewan, Vanscoy, Saskatchewan, and Bridgewater, New Jersey. In a few seconds, I will turn it over to Blair Knipple, who will be the MC for the event. Media will have the opportunity to ask questions following the event, and you may do so by using the raise your hand function. I will open up the floor at that time, and we ask that you save your questions until then. So with that, I'll turn it over to Blair.
Thank you very much, Tiffany. Good afternoon and a tremendous Vanscoy welcome to each and every one of you. On behalf of Ingredion and the Cameron family, we'd like to send a special welcome to our distinguished guests attending virtually, including Darcy Bear, Chief of the Whitecap Dakota First Nation, Her Worship Robin Odnicon, Mayor of the Village of Vanscoy, and the Honorable David Merritt, Saskatchewan's Minister of Agriculture. My name is Blair Knipple, a former GM and CFO of Verdient Foods and currently a Senior Advisor to Ingredion. I'm honored to serve as your MC for today's event. I would like to officially begin our event by acknowledging that myself, numerous virtual attendees, and the Ingredion and Verdient Foods operations in Vanscoy are on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional territory of Cree peoples and the homeland of the Métis Nation. As you are aware, our event today was originally going to be held in Vanscoy. Due to this weekend's major snowstorm and ongoing COVID concerns, and you may actually see one of our people shoveling behind me through the window, decision was made to host our event entirely virtually. We trust that regardless of the form of today's announcement, you'll still be able to see our speakers' excitement and passion for the project and for today's announcement. Last year, Ingredion Incorporated, Ingredion Plant-Based Protein Specialties, Verdient Food, and the Camerons formed a consortium seeking to advance the production of new, sustainable, pulse-based human food ingredients using novel technologies developed out of Ingredion's Idea Labs. The consortium's purpose was to perfect these novel technologies, implement them at industrial scale, and ultimately commercialize the end results with the goal of creating sufficient volume of finished products to supply a broad range of global food companies seeking to utilize pulse ingredients in numerous types of plant-based foods and beverages. Along with Proteins Industries Canada, today the consortium announces the initiation of a large-scale project using these innovative, state-of-the-art, disruptive technologies here in Vanscoy, the very heart of pulse country. Functional pulse ingredients are required to address today's and tomorrow's consumer palates and nutritional demands. The project's underlying breakthrough technologies will address those immediate needs and ultimately push the boundaries of pulse ingredient functionality and consumer acceptance and adoption even further. As longtime supporters of the pulse industry, each consortium member sees their work with Proteins Industries Canada as an opportunity to bring the project to fruition, to increase the overall value-added processing capabilities currently available in Saskatchewan and Canada, and to bring healthy, sustainable food ingredients to the global market. The consortium's project with Proteins Industries Canada validates its members' efforts to bring large-scale production of ingredients and will, over time, provide a made in Vanscoy, made in Saskatchewan, made in Canada solution to this rapidly growing global market. With that, we're going to head into, lead into some more specific information about the project, the consortium, and Protein Industries Canada involvement. I believe you hear from each speaker a message of opportunity, technological advancement, and a desire to provide sustainable, healthy human food ingredients. Now for our first speaker, I'd like to ask Bill Gruel, CEO of Proteins Industries Canada, to speak on behalf of his PIC team and its board of directors. Bill?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Blair, and thanks to everyone for joining us today. We're all in different locations today. I'm in Regina, so I would like to acknowledge that I'm on Treaty 4 territory, which is the original land of the Cree, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. You know, we had originally hoped to have this partly in person, but I'm glad to see we've been able to at least gather virtually today. And I appreciate all of you have such high interest in hearing about the announcement this afternoon. It's one I'm very excited to be sharing with you. Today marks Protein Industry Canada's 12th technology project announcement involving one of our largest consortia to date. I think this illustrates the collaborative atmosphere we're aiming to create. Sometimes this collaborative work is through new crop varieties or new food products or new technologies that advance production and processing methods. But always the consortia are working together, making bigger, more significant strides toward those goals than they could accomplish alone. And the partners in this project are no exception to that. Today, I'm very pleased to announce that our partnership with Ingredion Plant-Based Protein Specialties Canada, Verdient Foods, T-Base 4 Investments and O.M.D Food Products, together, we're investing $25.7 million into increasing the functionality of pulses in high-value plant-based protein ingredients. Ingredients that will be used to diversify options for food manufacturers in Canada and internationally. This work will open new markets for both pulse producers and processors in Western Canada, strengthening the plant protein sector and Canada's economy as a whole. I'd like to thank each of the partners for their role in this project. Your work is going a long way in advancing the ultimate goal of Protein Industries Canada to help make our country a global leader in plant protein. You're helping us take a huge step towards seeing that happen while creating new opportunities for everyone in the value chain. Your investments will help pulse farmers in opening up new markets for them, create new jobs for Canadians wanting to enter the processing sector, create new markets for processors, and adding new plant-based ingredients to consumers' plates. And the economic benefits are particularly exciting to think about. Verdient has been contributing to Saskatchewan's agriculture industry, job growth, and overall economy for a few years now, and the other project partners are eager to begin doing so. And are far-reaching economic benefits to be had. We know that increasing our value-added processing in Canada by just 20% over what we do today, or an additional 20% of our crop production, can add $12 billion to Canada's economy annually. And that's a very significant boost achieved with what we believe is a realistic jump in value-added processing. And this project has the potential to greatly contribute to that goal. So I do want to thank you. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Protein Industry Canada staff involved in working on this project. I know many of them are on the call today. Chris Anderson, our Chief Technology Officer in Winnipeg, Cassandra Quayle, our Chief Financial Officer in Regina, and Megan Gervais, who's our Intellectual Property Manager and Project Lead, who helped develop this project with our partners. And finally, I want to thank Minister Baines and Innovation, Science and Industry at the Government of Canada for their support of Protein Industries Canada and our partners. I'd now like to introduce a video greeting from Saskatchewan's Agriculture Minister, Dave Merritt, on behalf of the Government of Saskatchewan. The Honourable Dave Merritt was appointed Saskatchewan's Minister of Agriculture in 2018 and was reappointed as the Minister of Agriculture just yesterday when Premier Scott Moe named Cabinet. He has also served as Minister of Highways and Infrastructure and Minister responsible for SAS Builds and Priority Saskatchewan. As a producer until just last year, he has firsthand knowledge and understanding of Saskatchewan's agriculture industry, and I'd like to thank him for taking the time to record this video. I always look forward to what he has to say.
Good afternoon. It really is a privilege for me to be here on behalf of Premier Scott Moe and the Government of Saskatchewan. I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate Protein Industries Canada, or PIC as it's more commonly called by everyone, on your announcement of the over $27 million for the province of Saskatchewan in the value-added processing. This falls right in line with our growth targets of achieving in the next 10 years of value-added processing and increasing that opportunity for industry here, and obviously for the farmers and ranchers here in the province of Saskatchewan to grow their business and have opportunity to grow the products that these industries need to produce the product that is feeding the world. So once again, I just want to congratulate you on behalf of the Government of Saskatchewan and as Minister of Agriculture for everything you do to help us increase the value-added processing here in the province of Saskatchewan and having a better return and a bigger return for the farmers here in Saskatchewan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Merritt. As our event today is virtual, only those of you that have driven by the site in the past several months will have seen in person what we've got going on in our back 40. These buildings are the heart and soul of the project, and we're proud to say the tallest building in the village of Vanscoy. As I get to see it almost every day, please be assured that the sheer scale of these new operations is incredible. And like a true Saskatchewanian, I can tell you the project's home is literally beautiful to behold. To showcase the project, Ingredion has put together the following video. Miranda, if you will. Thank you very much, Miranda. Next, from Bridgewater, New Jersey, I would like to introduce Beth Tormey, Ingredion's Vice President of Plant-Based Proteins, who will be leading the project's technical and practical implementation, and ultimately will lead the charge to introduce all of the new products to markets around the globe. Beth, take it away.
Thanks so much, Blair. Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. As Blair mentioned, I'm the head of our plant-based proteins at Ingredion, and I'm honored to virtually join my fellow consortium members to unveil today's exciting news, which will drive meaningful change in the global food and beverage industry. Now, I've spent most of my career in the food industry and recently joined Ingredion as I wanted to be part of a global movement that profoundly impacts the world. Today is certainly a proud personal and professional moment for me. We're excited about today's announcement in the fast-growing segment of the plant-based protein market, as this continues Ingredion's relentless focus of identifying and investing in breakthrough technologies and solutions related to our specialty business so we can serve the growing global population. Since 2018, Ingredion has invested over $200 million to expand our plant protein portfolio and help our customers deliver delicious, on-trend products with simple labels that consumers are looking for in stores. We're now one step closer to meeting that goal. Under the leadership of Gary Saki, who's the plant manager of IPBPS, Ingredion, Plant-Based Protein Specialties, and the Verdient Foods, and the team in Vanscoy, as well as Maria Stewart, who's the technical director of plant-based proteins R&D for Ingredion, and the talented development and application teams in Bridgewater, we expect to produce multiple generations of highly functional pulse-based ingredients for consumer food and beverages, expanding into numerous applications that helps improve the nutritional profile and augments the sensory aspects with each iteration. Development of our first products are underway, and we'll continue to use our applications and food science expertise, as well as our culinologists, to help customers address consumer preferences for sustainable plant-based alternatives. Now, we firmly believe that Canada plays an important role in plant-based proteins, solidifying Saskatchewan as the innovation epicenter for the plant protein sector and creating further growth opportunities for the region. The fiscal contribution pledged by PIC will accelerate our work by enabling the use of new technology and innovation to create a more inclusive and sustainable food system for everyone. Before I turn this back over to Blair, I'd like to thank a few groups who've been instrumental in bringing this project to life. First and foremost, our fellow consortium members, Verdient and O.M.D. we're excited to embark on this journey and bring the potential of people, nature, and technology together to make life better. I'd like to recognize Mark Whaley as project lead for successfully bringing the complexities and challenges surrounding the construction of a plant of this magnitude on an already operating site. I'd also like to thank James Cameron and Susie Amos Cameron, who've been pioneers in driving transformational change in the food industry and creating a shared sustainable future for all of us. We would not be here without their collective vision. And a special thank you to Blair Knipple, whose perseverance and tireless commitment to the project made achievement of the grant possible. Thank you, Blair. And finally, of course, I'd like to thank PIC for recognizing the positive impact of this project. I look forward to building a robust relationship with Bill, his team, and the members of the broader protein community there in Canada. Many thanks, Blair. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Beth. Next, I've been asked to say a few words on behalf of Verdient Foods and the Verdient team assembled here in Vanscoy. From Verdient Foods' perspective, today's announcement represents both a validation of the initial business plan established several years ago by its founding shareholders and a natural pathway to where and how the Canadian pulse ingredient market needs to evolve. The provision of healthy, sustainable, suitably functional human-grade food products for global customers. The Verdient team is currently a very proud producer of several pulse ingredients, but I know that Verdient's current product mix represents only the first step towards commercial acceptance of pulse products by today's consumers. The Verdient team will naturally pre-process substantially all the feedstocks that will be consumed by the project and provide feedstock to Ingredion after the completion of the project as well. What this means for Verdient Foods is that its core pulse ingredients will ultimately have a broader place on store shelves, more end future uses, more future customers, more future products, and more future applications. The Verdient operation is more than happy to draft behind the project's novel technologies and Ingredion's global technical sales force and manufacturing expertise, with the end result of being finished products that are able to be incorporated into both today's products and an entire realm of new products that are in development today and those that have not yet even been dreamed about by global food companies. The Verdient team is ready and eager to take part in the creation of new products for consumers and continuing to ensure that Saskatchewan and Canada maintain their places as the center of plant-based food production. Our last speaker today is attending by video message as well. Mr. James Cameron, co-founder of Verdient Foods, along with his wife, Susie Amos Cameron, are unfortunately unable to attend due to previous work and personal commitments in New Zealand, but he and his team put together this short clip. Miranda, if you could please play Mr. Cameron's video.
Hi, I'm Jim Cameron, and I'm a proud Canadian. Together with my partner in all things, Susie Amos Cameron, I'm happy to support Protein Industries Canada and the province of Saskatchewan in providing plant proteins for global consumption. Plant proteins are both healthy and crucial for feeding the world sustainably. Susie and I are the founders of Verdient and O.M.D food products. As such, we share a common vision with Protein Industries Canada and with our valued partner, Ingredion, a leading ingredient solutions provider. That shared vision is to create a broad range of sustainable plant-based proteins and plant-based products to meet the explosive growth in demand. Our goal is to add value within Canada, rather than just shipping megatonnage overseas at commodity prices, to add jobs and to grow our GDP. And what inspires me is that plant-based foods and beverages not only increase our health, but that of the planet. We're excited to work with Protein Industries Canada and with Ingredion on breakthrough, sustainable, and innovative plant-based food solutions that, as Ingredion says so well, bring the potential of people, nature, and technology together to make life better. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Miranda. Susie was also unable to attend in person, but she's excited for the opportunity, for the potential for both her one meal a day for the Planet Food Development Team and for the entire global food manufacturing sector to be able to work with and incorporate new, more functional pulse ingredients that this project seeks to perfect. Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Susie. Just a few more thank yous before we conclude our event. I'd just like to say a few on behalf of the consortium members. As Bill mentioned, thank you so much to Federal Minister O.M.D. Baines and the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Economic Development, and to Bill Gruel and the entire Protein Industries Canada team for your belief in and support of the project. ISED and PIC's investments in the plant-based protein ecosystem are both vital and essential to bringing and building a new future in food for Canada, North America, and the world. And we look forward to seeing the growth and positioning that PIC's investments will bring to Canada. Without these investments, the jobs, the opportunities, the technologies, and the value creation will go elsewhere. Thank you very much to the Ministry of Agriculture and to Minister Merritt. Your support of Verdient Foods and the Government of Saskatchewan's support for both primary producers and value-added food, agri-food business sector represent the foundation on which the consortium members' investments were actually originally conceived. Thank you for believing in the agricultural sector as a whole, supporting our province's farmers, and fitting value-added processing into our province's growth strategy. On behalf of the Verdient Foods team here in Vanscoy, thank you to Beth and to the Ingredion team. I've only known Beth for a few months, but I can tell you that Beth brings the skills, and along with the incredible depth of the expertise of the entire Ingredion team, that will make, and you will see this project be successful. And this will bring more opportunities for growth here in Canada. Ingredion's Canadian legacy operations actually began in Ontario in the 1850s. That's 1850, that's a long time. Together in Saskatchewan, they will leave a legacy of jobs, expertise, provide reinforcements to Saskatchewan and Canada's ability to be a key contributor to our sustainable plant-based ecosystem for years to come. That concludes the formal portion of our event today. My final thank you is to each of you attending and for the opportunity to virtually show you and describe the investments being made by the consortium, establishing Vanscoy as a key cog in the future of healthy, sustainable food production. We are disappointed, I can say this on behalf of Ingredion, that circumstances beyond our control made a live event impossible. That being said, plans are underway for a 2021 event where Ingredion will be able to more formally announce the opening of its new facility, and we hope we can show you the site in person next year. Tiffany, did you want to hand it off to here? I'm going to hand it back to you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Blair, and thank you, Beth and Bill, as well as Minister Merritt and James Cameron for joining us today. We will now open up the floor for questions. You can use the raise your hand function. We will then unmute you and you can go ahead and ask your question. So if anyone has any questions they would like to ask, just to the panelists who are on your screen today, they may go ahead and do so now. Okay, we have Taryn Milton from farms.com. Go ahead.
Hi there, can everyone hear me? Perfect.
You're good.
I'm not sure who wants to tackle this one, but just a question about how this announcement will benefit Western Canadian farmers.
Well, I mean, I can take a step at that, but Blair was going to unmute too. I think, you know, Taryn, anytime that we have new markets, new local markets opening up for producers and give them options for the sale of products often in their backyard, that's a great day for Saskatchewan farmers. So the more opportunities and options we have for sale and processing here on the prairies that mitigate some of the issues related to trade disruption and some of the transportation issues that sometimes happen in Western Canada, that's a great day for farmers in Western Canada. But I'm sure Blair's got something to add as well.
Yeah, just an extension of that, Bill. I think that farmers will have the opportunity, the more they can sell locally, the more they have the opportunity with not just with transportation, but when you look at trade barriers set by, you know, governments that don't necessarily have the best interests of Saskatchewan farmers in mind, when they may put those trade tariffs and restrictions in, to the extent that you can produce things locally, it gives you that kind of that core. And I think that with you, a core opportunity where you don't have to worry about things that you normally would have to worry about as a farmer. And I think as an extension of that then is once you have a core in Vanscoy here, there's two large scale businesses, Verdient Foods and Ingredion plant-based protein specialties. As you build out from that core, there's an opportunity for more businesses to kind of build in the area. And I think this is the beginning of the future. It is not necessarily the answer, but it begins to form part of the answer. And I think in the next 6 months, in the next 6 years, in the next 6 decades, you'll see a different opportunity, not just for today's farmers, but for generations of farmers to come because those investments were made.
Thank you. Karen, do you have any further questions?
I just was also curious if there's any, I came a little late, so was there any specific dates for when the facility is going to be open, or is it open now?
So the facility that's under construction is expected to be open in 2021, probably around mid-year. And we're looking forward to production ramping up from there. As well, Ingredion will be working together, of course, with the team in Vanscoy to continue to ramp up run rates out of the primary for the Verdient Foods facility. So that is currently operating.
Thank you. Any further questions, Karen?
I'm good. Thank you, Tiffany.
Okay, thanks, Karen. We will now go to Karen Briere from the Western Producer. Karen? Oh, Karen's muted. Oh, no,
Okay.
now go ahead, Karen.
I'm good now. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering about capacity in terms of how much raw product you'll be buying from farmers.
Well, that's a good question. I must admit, I don't have the volumes off the top of my head. Blair, I don't know if you know them off the top of your head, but it's a pretty significant volume. And as mentioned, we continue, I mean, one of the things that Ingredion has done well, of course, is continue to optimize manufacturing. So we do expect to continue to grow against that capacity as well. But Blair, do you?
Yeah, it's going to be well over 100,000 metric tons going into the primary facility, which is Verdient, which where I'm here today. And then a component of that is going to be the value-added technology applied to the feedstock at just a percentage of that. And I think after that, I think the plant was actually designed to double in capacity as soon as consumer demand and manufacturer demand begins to grow. So it's very scalable as well.
Okay,
Karen,
thank
do you
you.
have any further? Oh, sorry. Do you have any further questions, Karen?
No, I think I'm fine. Thanks.
Okay, excellent. We do have a question from Muriel Gonzalez. They did raise their hand, or I can read the question if they would prefer to. It's from Nutrition Investor. What functionality are you trying to improve? What food and drink categories are you targeting? And do you welcome startups and food corporations alike? I'm not sure if Beth or Blair would like to take that one.
Sure, I'll comment on that one. Thank you for the question, Muriel. So in terms of functionality, the most critical functionality of plant-based proteins in food products is really related to taste and texture. And so those are the functionalities that we're looking to improve with the processing work that will go on up there in Vanscoy. In terms of categories, so really plant proteins are applicable in every food category. We have found it to be really interest from every corner of every application, but to highlight a few of them, certainly in nutritional beverages, so sports drinks and protein type drinks. We certainly see a lot of it in baked and breading applications, in snack foods, also in pet food, and also in alternative meat and alternative dairy formulations. So really in every category you can imagine. It's one of the reasons why we think this is such an important aspect going forward.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
now.
Can I expand on the question on the functionality, please? Because thank you for clarifying that it's the taste and texture, but is it because most, and I'm wondering, is it because most companies are still struggling to neutralize the taste and still taste the taste of the pulse? So if you're trying to achieve a neutral taste, could you explain that?
Well, it really, I mean, it depends on the different pulses, of course. There are different taste profiles related to different pulse products. And there are certain aspects or tones, we would call them, of certain pulse proteins that may be more favorable for some applications than others. And so we're constantly looking to modulate the taste. And with that, quite frankly, and very tightly connected to that is the texture. So they tend to go together. We have a very experienced and very well-known sensory capability that allows us to assess those aspects of the products. And we do so both on as-made basis, but also more importantly in many, many different kinds of food formulations. So there are both the natural elements of the flavor as well as the flavor in formulation and the texture, which is infinitely connected to that, which we look to modulate and affect according to what consumers are preferring and what food manufacturers are seeking.
Thank you. Do you have any further questions, Mariel?
Maybe perhaps the collaboration with the startups and food corporation would you be working like with R&D, proof of concept, or just simply delivering the raw or the ingredient?
So Ingredion is an ingredient supplier, and so we're supplying ingredients alongside with technical formulation and culinology recommendations to food manufacturers. Now, O.M.D, of course, is actually a manufacturer of foods, and so for them, it's in the ultimate finished product. And of course, Verdient Foods is on the processing side. So that's what makes the consortium, the grouping together of these organizations, work so well to bring these products to bear.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We do have a question from Lara, who I believe is with Real Agriculture. And it is, what will Verdient's regulations be around MRLs in pulsed crops, specifically diquat MRL, in light of US changes? I'm not sure, Blair, if you can take that one.
I wish I knew. Bill, could you tell me what that, I don't understand the question.
Yeah, the question
MRL,
is asking about maximum residue limits. So that would be herbicide residue in crops. And so I can't speak for you, but that's the context of the question.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much, Bill. I just hadn't seen that acronym like that. No, that's okay, Lara, don't worry. What we do is really do bespoke manufacturing for our customers. So if our customers require a minimum residue levels, we will make sure that our product is sourced accordingly. So it really depends on who we're processing it for. Our regulations, therefore, really are meant to, and how we do our procurement is really around who it is that we're trying to provide that finished product for. And this is, I think, as we get into the more extensive production for Ingredion plant-based specialty or protein specialties next door, it will be what Beth needs for her customers. We are only producing a portion of our plant can produce more than what next door will actually need. And with Ingredion's help on the sales and distribution side, it's going to be then those customers of Ingredion, those customers of Verdient that actually demand that. So we're trying to be very flexible. We don't have an official position, and we can adapt and adopt accordingly. But it's really going to be what consumers want, I think. And Lara, I don't know if that really answers your question, but it's really, we have to be flexible. And once we start being known as being flexible, we'll expand on that reputation in the marketplace. But it's really what people want.
Okay, thank you, Blair. Are there any follow-up questions, Laura? Okay, we do have one from Majid Hazaz. Majid, go ahead.
Well, thank you very much. And my question is about the production of Verdient. How much protein do you think you will produce more, or how much would be added to your protein? And also, what do you think, would it be for the human or just feed or both?
Oh, you're muted, Blair.
Sorry about that. It's a good question, and I think that our overall production is confidential. It's just commercial confidential, and we keep that to just kind of within our group. But if I look at the vision of the Camerons when they originally started up Verdient, and I look at the vision of Ingredion, and as that relationship grows, it's interesting to be able to produce stuff for animal consumption, for pet consumption, but really the goal and the biggest change that we can make to human health, to the environmental health of our planet, is actually by putting as much of this product into human consumption. Our plant here is entirely human grade. Everything that we produce here is human grade. But what we need is to be able to have the market catch up with us, because we are relatively unique in that we are entirely human grade. But I think that as protein, it's not just the protein that comes out, it's actually utilization of the low protein fraction, or what we call the starch fraction, which has it's the low glycemic. It's actually relatively high protein in and of itself. It has dietary fiber in it, and so it's not just the protein that's coming out, it's actually the utilization of the other products as well. I think as you get into human consumption, you can start looking at different uses for those byproducts as well. Beth, I don't know if you want to add on that, but
yeah, that's spot on. Obviously, we're very interested in supporting global food sourcing and in advancing the use of pulses in multiple applications. And so both the plant is set up, as Blair says, for human, and we have focus on, as I mentioned before, many different categories of food products for human consumption, but also the ability to provide products for pet. So it's really quite a multifunctional facility.
Thank you. Majid, do you have any follow-up questions?
Thank you very much.
Okay. With that, I'll do one last call for questions, if there's any other questions from the media. Okay. Seeing none, that brings us to the formal end of our program. So thank you to everyone who joined. If any of the media do require follow-up information or images, please do not hesitate to reach out and we can supply those to you. So once again, thank you for joining. Thank you for our panelists, and have a good day.
thank you.
Thanks
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Take care.